Hi again then guys, and welcome to another speed build on Forza Horizon 3, this time for, I would say, a surprisingly well-priced classic, the Lamborghini Miura, considered by some classic aficionados to be the best looking car ever made. I wouldn't agree with that, but I can understand at the same time why people would say that. It's certainly not a bad looking car, and as far as that price, a million credits, maybe it's just me, that seems pretty good for such a historically significant car for the Lamborghini brand, such a highly sought after and coveted collector's piece. A million credits is pretty good. That's like average supercar price. Now, as far as conversions on this particular vehicle, it's definitely not a tune for purists, to say that much. We've got the 1500 horsepower Aventador engine, so at least it is keeping it in the family in this case. As far as the drivetrain, I have converted it to all-wheel drive. Some people might not want that, but for a classic especially, I really would recommend having all-wheel drive because it makes it very skittish if you don't have that. As far as aspiration, I would recommend, of course, the twin turbo, and for the rest, you guys know the drill. Increase the power as much as you can, lower the weight as much as you can, and as far as the rest, fit everything that's race spec to the car. Gearbox, tyres, diff, brakes, suspension, all that good stuff. I would not recommend rally parts, but instead race parts. Some people do seem to go for rally parts by mistake, so you won't be able to get the same numbers if you do. As you can see, I have fitted this car with a roll cage, and as I've mentioned a number of times, classics and muscle cars both benefit quite a bit from having that. Now, as far as the benchmark goes, given the power that this car has, it's perhaps not quite as quick as you might assume, especially compared to something like, for instance, the Jag D-Type, which is of course the quickest car in the game. This is no way near that, but it definitely isn't slow. 2.9 to 60, 5.1 to 100, 268 flat out. Those are good numbers, and certainly good enough to give any of the other classics, apart from maybe the D-Type Jag, a pretty good run for their money, to say the least. Now for the gearbox, I would recommend a final drive of 3.2, then individual gears, which, of course, if you've used my tunes before, will not be a surprise to you. 2.9, 2, 1.5, 1.18, 0.95 and 0.77. Then as far as alignment, we've gone for neutral, camber and tow. I've opted for the highest caster angle of 7 degrees. You don't necessarily have to go that high, but that's what I've opted for. I've gone for 26 and 25, as you can see on the anti-roll. For the springs, we've got 156 and 200 with the lowest ride height as well. Dampers we've got on 13, 16, 6 and 7. Aero does not apply on this one. And for the diff, I've got 100% on the acceleration settings, 0 on decel, and a 70% split in favour of that back end. Now, I can't recall if this one is on my storefront or not, but check it out, use the keywords down in the description and see for yourself. I think it may be, if I remember correctly, but that's it for the tune. So now let's see what it can actually do. Now, as I mentioned, this is not the quickest of classics in the game. It's more a car which I would recommend, if you haven't bought it yet, to view primarily as a really cool collector's piece, which also has the capability of winning classic events. It's not the best classic in any particular way, but it is a good all-rounder. It looks the part, it's pretty well priced compared to many others, and the performance is certainly good enough to give you victories. So if you do decide to use this tune for the car, which as you can see does bounce around on the red line, so if you want to extend the final drive a little bit more, extend your final gear a little bit more even, to get more draft potential, or see if you can get it even quicker, then by all means play around. That's the whole point of these tunes. But if you want to check out more, there are hundreds more on the channel, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.